Welcome to this week's edition of the Dakota Angler 2-Minute Fishing Report. Well, before we get going with the fishing report, I want to offer you something on sale that with the 4th of July weekend coming up, a lot of people who watch this report have cabins. What more can you ask for than a patriotic Rapala giant lure? Right here we have it at the store for $69.99. It's available, like I said, at the store as well as online at dakotaangler.com, but a great way to start the holiday week. Well, as far as the fishing report is concerned, I know a lot of you were wondering where summer was. Well, you got your wish because it came back in full vengeance, and a lot of people got off the lake early, and rightfully so, because it was quite unbearable out there in the afternoon hours. As far as the fishing report is concerned, a lot of smaller fish and not as successful, mainly due to the heat and due to the limited number of hours that you can spend on the lake. But the lakes up in the northeastern part of the state that produced fish included Wabe, Bitter, also goose, opits, grass, hazelton, Minnewaska, north and south rush, reed, and big stone. And remember, big stone has still quite a bit of high water up there, so be aware of that at the same time. Down the southeastern part of the state, the lakes that produce walleyes included Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Ponset, Thompson, Whitewood, Sinai, Madison, a few being caught at Brant, as well as Henry WPA, and then also Twin. And remember, Twin is the trophy lake. Now, Missouri River continues to produce fish. It seems like Pigsdown is getting a little bit more action than what Chamberlain has. What guys are doing to catch fish down there in the Pigsdown area has been mainly snap jigging in the trees. When I'm talking about snap jigging, using Rapala jigging wraps like this here, size 7s and 9s, and just fishing right above the trees and coming away with some really nice fish. In the Chamberlain area, a lot of people are pulling crankbaits. In the Wahi area, the same thing. And they're using deeper cranks, the flicker shads. As you can see here, we have a number of great custom colors. This is the Sick Frog. Again, size 7 has been working well. And then also a lot of people are starting to use the larger stick baits up at Wahi. This is the Walleye Nation Reaper. This is the the Wonder Bread color. So again, stop on by and take a look at the great selection of lures at this time of year that a lot of people are using. In the area lakes, guys are still pulling crankbaits as well, but also bottom bouncing with spinners, with crawlers and leeches, and coming away with some decent fish at the same time. Now, as far as the bluegill bite is concerned, it's a great way to get people, especially young kids, interested in fishing. And so the lakes that have been producing bluegills this past week include Clear, Enemy Swim, Cochrane, Buffalo, also Big Stone, and then a few being caught at Brant, Madison, and Vermilion, but then also Lake Pahoja down in northwest Iowa, as well as the Iowa Great Lakes. And how are they catching them? Bobber, bear hook with a crawler. That's all that's needed. In this week's edition of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about fishing the weeds. And the reason why is because this time of year, especially after this weekend, with the hot weather, the weeds definitely popped up around the area. And honestly, a lot of folks come in here and ask, how can we catch fish in the weeds? I just hate fishing weeds. I hate taking the weeds off the hooks. Well, folks, if you're not fishing the weeds this time of the year, you're not catching the big fish, because that's where they reside. They'll hang out in those weeds and wait for the bait to come by and then lunge out and grab their lunch. So again, the fish in the weeds are the success this time of year. So what can you do to fish the weeds and be successful? One of the easiest ways, and we kind of talked about it last week, is just using a slip bobber. You can throw a slip bobber right out in the edge of the weeds or in amongst the weeds with a leech or even a minnow. But this time of year, leeches work great. That's a fantastic way of doing it. Also, pulling bottom bouncers. A lot of times people will do that this time of year out in the middle of nowhere. Fish the weed edge and use, if you want to fish in the weeds, use a floating spinner like this, floating crawler harness. We have a number of them here at the store. It's a great way to fish this time of year. Another way, throwing crankbaits. This is one of my favorite ones to throw in the weeds and along the weed edge. This is the X-Wrap, size 8. Comes in 2 different sizes, a number of different colors. Just the erratic movement of this jerk bait will trigger a strike, especially along that weed edge. Also something that's gotten really popular the past couple of years, the search baits. Again, half crawler, half real crawler, or even an artificial crawler like the Killer Crawler from Berkeley. Put that on one of these search baits, or the Walleye Nation Creation search baits, and you will find success with these as well. And then finally, we always talk about it, jigs and swim baits. There's no reason to throw them off to the side because of this time of year. This time of year, throw it in the weeds, use a larger swim bait. That way it won't get ripped up as much in the weeds itself. So again, a nice 4-inch swim bait, and don't be afraid of the size, it works quite well. But this is a great way to find those active fish and find those larger fish at this point in time of the year. So again, never be afraid of fishing the weeds. As I said, that's where the location where most of the fish will be hanging out on this time of year, so that's the key. Do change up your presentations to fish those weeds to make you more successful. And if you have any questions about what you saw here or at any time, feel free to stop on by here at the store or give us a call at 605-336-9132. But good luck fishing the weeds. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, all you have to do is send it to me. You can do so by sending it to todd@dakotaangler.com. And before we end this week's report, I want to remind you that the best way to stay up to date with all the latest happenings here at the store is to follow us on social media, whether or not it's on through our Instagram channel, our Facebook page, also our Twitter account, also our website at dakotaangler.com, and also once in a while Snapchat. So again, all different ways to stay up to date with everything that's going on here at the store. If you have any questions about that or anything else that you hear on the report, feel free to give us a call at 605-336-9132. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next week, and thanks for watching, and always, stay healthy and stay safe.